Hi friends, in the previous tutorials we talked about machine learning and its various types such as supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, regression and classification. Now we know that every machine learning model have three stages of development: data analysis and synthesis stage, evaluation stage and optimization stage. In the next two lectures we will understand another subdomain of machine learning, that is artificial neural network or ANN. Let's try to understand the concepts and thoughts behind artificial neural network. You know that when you see a car, you can observe the parts of the car as some physically present object, but computers understand any image differently than humans. All it can understand the binary representation of the data. For example, a portion of door handle of a car can have a digital representation like this, which will consist a matrix of pixel intensities ranging from 0 to 255. Then even for an image of very small size, say 100 pixel by 100 pixel, we will have a total of 10,000 pixels. Therefore, the dimension of our feature sets will be 10,000 if we consider grayscale image. In case of RGB image, which will add 3 more dimensions of different colors, red, green and blue, feature size will become 30,000. Now, if you think of any nonlinear hypothesis, because almost all practical problems require nonlinear hypothesis. And if you consider the fundamental quadratic term, which will consist multiplication of two feature vectors, its size can reach up to 900 million. You get these many features just by considering basic quadratic feature. Here, you can see that simple machine learning algorithms like linear regression or logistic regression cannot really help us. You can say such complex problems like image processing or problems involving computer vision require some other techniques. Here, ANN comes for rescue. Artificial neural networks are computing systems designed to replicate the way humans analyze and work. ANN try to mimic human brain. Let me give you the background behind origin of neural networks. In this figure, you can see the portion of our brain which is called auditory cortex. It enables us in hearing the sound around us. When our ears send any signal, this auditory cortex is responsible to understand that. Neuroscientists did a fantastic experiment. They cut the link between ear and auditory cortex. Rather, they connected an eye while testing on an animal to the auditory cortex, and what they observed that auditory cortex learns to see. It was a very fantastic discovery that the portion of the brain which was responsible for acting as hearing aid can be trained to see. They performed another experiment. What you can see is portion of the brain called somatosensory cortex, which helps us in sensing the objects. Now, if you again cut this link and connect it to an eye, this also learns to see. These are called neural rewiring experiments. It seems like any part of the brain can be trained to perform tasks of other parts. Because of this and similar other experiments, there was a sense that if same organ can be trained to see, sense and do other things like hear, etc., can a technique be developed on similar footsteps to create an artificial brain which can mimic human brain? It led to the foundation of artificial neural network. So guys, this is the background behind origin of neural network. Before I discuss the structure of a neural network, let's first understand the architecture of human brain. Human brain consists of neurons or a network of neurons. Our brain is full of neurons like this. Neurons are cells in our mind. This part of the neuron is called nucleus. Here, I want to discuss two important points. These cells called dendrites act as input wire to the nucleus, and after some processing, nucleus sends the output to another node through these output wires called axon. So you can say neuron is a computational unit which takes input through dendrites from other nodes and after the required computation sends output signal to other nodes through axon. Artificial neural network also follow similar architecture. Here, you can see a node which accepts signals from 3-input arrangements and after doing some computation throws output. Neurons in ANN are called nodes. In neural network, nodes perform some operations, and those operations are generally called activation functions. We will understand activation functions in a subsequent tutorial. If you combine many such nodes, it assumes a layered architecture. This is the general architecture of a neural network, where many input nodes provide output signal to nodes in next layer. The input from a node to another nodes are controlled or transformed through various weights. This structure have 3 layers, one input layer, one output layer and one intermediate layer called hidden layer. Any layer which is not input or output layer is called hidden layer. Now let's understand the working of a neural network architecture. The basic data is received by the input layer. The hidden layers extract data from one set of neurons, in this case input layer, and provide the output to another set of neurons, in this case output layer. Hence they remain hidden. The hidden layers, as they go deeper, capture all the minute details. This results in discovering various relationships between different inputs. Finally, the output layer provides a result which is simple and understandable. The neural network is first given a set of high-level input data, which the system reads and analyzes. The system then detects the properties of the inputs layer by layer. In case of an image, the first layer may detect the contrast and the next layer may detect the texture. In a similar way, different attributes are detected by different layers. During training, it also adjusts its internal weights to the answers or labels provided to it. That is, the network adds weights to the input sources that provide the information based on how reliable they are. This helps in improving its performance each time. This is called backpropagation. We will understand backpropagation in another subsequent tutorial. Mathematically, we can represent this simple neural network like this. Let's say Aij is the activation of unit I in layer J, and Wj is matrix of weights controlling function mapping from layer J to layer J plus 1. Now, that's how you can write expression for first activation node in layer 2. This node is fed with 3 inputs of layer 1. Here, G is the activation function for layer 2. Similarly, for other 2 activation nodes in layer 2, these expressions are pretty simple to understand. You multiply each input with the corresponding weight and sum it before transformation through activation function. If you want to write expression for the final output node in layer 2, it can be written like this. Here H is the activation function for layer 3. Activation function in different layers can be different or same. Well friends, thanks for watching the tutorial. This was about the introduction to artificial neural network. Hope this tutorial would have developed an idea about the origin, architecture and working of neural network. In the next tutorial, we will talk about types of neural networks. Stay connected. If you find this tutorial interesting, share it with your friends and colleagues who might find it useful. Do not forget to subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon.